refugee families, citing funding limitations. Ken Emmanuel Lukajo is the Associate External Relations and Reporting Officer for the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, in Malawi. He told VOA Tuesday that the UNHCR is aware of the food shortage problem in Dzaleka and that efforts have been made to update the refugees on the situation.
UNHCR work when they're able to get the cash assistance.
Paul Tanibu is country director for WFP in Malawi. He says the WFP last made a cash handout in August and that the delay is because of financial constraints the organization has faced in recent years.
Since May 2019, we've been doing a reduced food assistance ration between about 25 to 50% lower than the ideal ration. Now, we've faced risks of pipeline breaks for the food assistance on several occasions, and certainly this year we have encountered that.
Tanibu said the refugees will resume getting cash handouts on October 10.
And we have now secured sufficient funding for the remaining months of the year. So for the remainder of 2022, we will be able to do monthly distributions to the refugees.
However, Tanibu said more financial assistance is still needed to ensure the refugees get regular cash for food payments next year. Lamek Masina for VOA News, Blantyre, Malawi.
Lamek Messina was reporting from Blantyre in Malawi on hundreds of refugees and asylum seekers who are protesting today over delays in promised cash assistance to buy food. News Tonight. I'm Nabil Biagio in Washington. For more information on these and other stories from the continent, please see voaafrica.com. There you will find all your favorite VOA radio and TV programs and a whole lot more. For world news, check out voanews.com. The French news agency AFP says gunmen have killed 12 villagers in northeast Nigeria. Police say the shootings took place Sunday in a herding village in Taraba State's Bali district by attackers dressed as vigilantes carrying heavy weapons. The men told residents they were fighting criminal gangs and had come to arrest suspects. The assailants took 130 cattle, motorcycles, and food supplies. 4 of the attackers have been arrested and are reportedly cooperating with the investigation. Authorities say soldiers, police, and local hunters are looking for 8 people who are still missing. AFP notes that Taraba is one of the several northern states dealing with bandits who loot and kill or kidnap residents for ransom. Some are involved in clashes between nomadic herders and farmers. Bars and security forces in the state have also been the target of attacks by Muslim extremists. The Ugandan government has distanced itself from remarks on Twitter by Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the son of President Yoweri Museveni, that caused tension with neighboring Kenya. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a statement today that the government does not conduct its foreign policy functions via social media. In a related development, Museveni, who is the Commander-in-Chief of Defense, promoted his son from Lieutenant General to General, the highest rank in the army, but dropped his title as Commander of Land Forces. Charles Mwaguya is a political analyst and host of the political show Hotline on BBS television. My colleague Douglas Mpuga reached him in Kampala for reaction on these developments.
It's quite interesting. It's the dominant discussion on social media groups, especially WhatsApp. What's happening is that people are picking from Twitter and redistributing on other larger group social media platforms, especially WhatsApp. And it's pretty much mixed because some people are discussing the reaction of the Kenyans who picked up the discussion yesterday and made it really big. And some Ugandans are trying to read into what this means for both General Muhoozi and the power structure within Kampala.
Talking of what it means, General Muhoozi, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued a statement reiterating its cooperation with Kenya and it's a strong relationship. That means both governments are taking the issue very seriously, aren't they?
Yes, many senior politicians in Kenya, including in cabinet and in parliament, picked up the discussion yesterday from the general public, and we're making demands on their government to make demands on the Ugandan government from Kampala to respond to that statement. So the ministry statement, the Minister of Foreign Affairs statement from Kampala, did not come as a surprise. It means that the tweets touched off very sensitive diplomatic relations between Kenya and Uganda.
We understand there has been some changes in as far as Muhoozi's, Kainerugaba's assignment in the army is concerned.
That is the latest development. Just this afternoon, the spokesperson of the army, Brigadier General Felix Kulaije, released a statement whose contents had actually leaked a little bit earlier than he released it, indicating that President Yoweri Museveni, who is the commander-in-chief, has promoted Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba to the rank of full general and also dropped him from the command of the land forces, appointing in his place former Major General Kayanja Muhanga, who has since been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General.
How do we see this thing ending? Will that stop General Muhoozi from further tweets?
That is the interesting part. That's what everybody is watching out for, because where things stand now, there are two schools of thought. One is that he's been, to use the local cliche here, is that he's been put on katere, removed from a command position. Some people think this might give him leg room because he retains his position as Senior Presidential Advisor to Special Operations, which might give him a little bit more leg room to engage more freely in political discussions and his Twitter exchanges, which have been very interesting. They attracted a lot of comment from his followers. They attracted a lot of debate on social media platforms, and they have grown his followership significantly over the last 2 years. So whether this is a move to free him and allow him to tweet without the limitations of holding a senior command position, whether some people have speculated that this could actually allow him to be an indication that he might be retired soon, and therefore if he's retired, that clears the way for him to consider running for political office in 2026. There is a lot of that speculation going on among different sections of Uganda.
Charles Mwanguya is a political analyst and host of the political show Hotline on BBS television. He spoke with Douglas Mpuga by phone from Kampala. In Cameroon, thousands of people are marching to call for peace in the country's separatist conflict. The daily peace marches, which began on Friday, are slated to continue through today, come on the third anniversary of talks designed to end the fighting. Marchers say authorities need to do more to return peace to the restive western regions, where fighting has killed about 3,500 people since 2007. Moki Edwin Kinzeka reports from Yaoundé, Cameroon.
Hundreds of people march on the streets of Yaoundé, demanding an end to the separatist crisis in Cameroon's English-speaking western regions. The protesters, a majority of them women, say hardly a day goes by without cases of killing, abduction, rape and torching of public edifices in the northwest and southwest regions. Monday's peace march was organized by a non-governmental organization called Cameroon Peace and National Unity. Its president, Clementine Vogo, says the peace march marks the third anniversary of government-organized peace talks called the Major National Dialogue.
Le grand dialogue était prévu pour mettre sur la table la thématique de la paix.
Vogo says the culture of peace is still very much absent in Cameroon since the holding in Yaoundé of a major national dialogue from September 30 to October 4, 2019. She says the ongoing peace march in Yaoundé is to make the quest for peace a daily struggle of all Cameroonians. She says all civilians and civil society movements should be concerned about the return of peace to Cameroon. After that dialogue, Cameroon's President Paul Biya implemented recommendations to give the Northwest and Southwest regions more power, including the creation of regional assemblies and elected regional presidents. Zacchaeus Bakuma Etlangu is president of the Southwest Regional Assembly. He says outreach efforts to the armed separatist groups continue.
We are doing everything we can to convince them to lay down their arms and come to the negotiation table. We have families who have been displaced, children who have not gone to school for 5 years. So what becomes of them? Are we coming up with a generation of semi-literates?
Elango says some people have realized that war is not the answer.
As the years go by, more and more people are beginning to understand that we are in the same country. There were problems, and those problems progressively are being addressed, and the situation is improving.
As evidence of that, he notes that tens of thousands of people who fled the fighting have returned to southwest towns and villages in Manyu, Lebialem, Meme, Ndian, Fako, and Kupe Maniguba administrative units. Elango said several hundred schools sealed by fighters in the region have been reopened. The government says after the dialogue, powers were given to a national commission for the promotion of bilingualism to give equal status to the English and French languages in order to reduce domination by the French-speaking majority. David Aboem Achoyi is a member of the commission. He says the conflict still persists because many separatist leaders refused to take part in the dialogue.
I regret bitterly that some of our brothers and sisters, especially those who were abroad, couldn't be part of that jamboree. When I read their recommendations, I saw some of them which could be game changers. And I think it is important to note that the head of state said the recommendation should be implemented according to the means and the capabilities of the state.
3 years on, the prospects for peace talks remain stalled. Some separatist groups say they are not ready for any dialogue, while others say the talks should be held outside Cameroon. Separatist leaders based in Europe and the United States have expressed concern they will be arrested on charges of terrorism if they come home for peace talks. Cameroon maintains that the 2019 dialogue was successful and no talks will be organized outside the country. The stalemate doesn't bode well for peace in the western regions and suggests that Yaoundé will see more marches like the ones taking place this week. Moki Edwin Kinzeka for VOA News, Yaoundé, Cameroon.